War is hell is a sentiment usually reserved for sad little bitches. You didn't like your father getting his leg torn off, succumbing to alcoholism,
It tickles my kidneys, yeah.
and beating you? Well, would you rather be speaking Russian?
Don't touch sister, only brother with pussy.
We need war. Not just for jobs, not just for innovation, but for the defense of our great nation. Because it makes you money. What? Aren't therapists supposed to shut up? Look, they forced me to do this, and we only have like an hour left or something, so if we could just move on. I wanted to help rehab a teen who held up a convenience store to pay for his mom's medical bills. Do you know why she was in the hospital? Because her PTSD-ridden husband thought she was fucking Bin Laden. Now, I have you, some soulless military contractor whose third wife's kids probably hate him. This is your 5th time facing state-mandated counseling for a plea deal from the International Criminal Court. Are you? Fuck you. Okay, first of all, you can't marry a minor in the US, and second of all, I pled guilty. Isn't the whole admitting you have a problem is the first step what you're after? Anyway, back to what I was saying. Can I at least ask why? Why what? Why participate in this? You know, the US is spending like $900 billion on the military this year. For you, what, to be the big stick protecting our patriotic oil rigs and Coca-Cola death squads? Like, seriously, we have almost 1 million homeless people, but we chose more Javelin missiles?
To bomb Donetsk children.
And you fucking parasite, you continue to latch onto this horrifying system that has subjected millions to tyranny and death for years now. For what? A third yacht? A new house? Why? I want you to move my 11 o'clock to 12 and my 12-year-old to 1. No, the time, not the age. Jesus, I'm not a pedophile.
I for president, I for president, I for president, I for president.
On January 17th, 1961, Dwight D. Eisenhower, in his farewell address to the nation, warned of the
military-industrial complex,
a system in which the industrial and military sectors become dependent on each other for work, infrastructure, and capital. To quickly summarize, Country A needs to go to war. Contractor B says they'll make A single missile a month for $7 trillion. B hires a ton of workers, scientists, engineers, etc., who depend on this money to feed their families. But Country A eventually wins its war, and suddenly the executives at Contractor B, who themselves have been eyeballing a third yacht, have a problem.
Where is the money? The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Not just that, but the thousands of hardworking, everyday working class people
Let's take off into abyss. Go. Oh no.
also have a problem. They're not going to get a yacht, they're just going to starve. So, what do we do? Democracy. Now, it's been over 60 years since Ike delivered his address. Do you think this warning was heeded? Okay, so what I got from your weird little tangent is that, yeah, you are literally just evil. How do you sleep at night perfectly understanding the immense cruelty you've inflicted upon others? Seriously, like, what is wrong with you? You just don't get it, do you? Get what? Do you like healthcare? Like a brown kid likes Boeing. Remember what you-know-who did? Oh, I certainly remember. Who replaced your buddy Thompson? Tim something? No one did. What? No one replaced him, because he doesn't exist. The CEO is a mere abstraction of man as he has come to be known, an inhumane concept whose only goal is to further the ill-begotten gains it has built its legacy upon. Do you really think the healthcare machine has stopped even a moment since then? That the fear of death has made insulin available to the poor? Now, if you understand that, what do you think happens if I try something? Me, a frontman for one of the largest, most powerful, self-sustaining rackets to ever exist. At best, I get fired in the same apathetic news cycle. At worst, do you know how cheap a mentally ill teenager and a bit of grooming is? I might not be the victim, but even I, somebody deeply involved in this thing, am utterly powerless. These machines of industry, of violence, of misery, they don't end because the consciousness that eats away at us day in and day out eventually makes a hole big enough to crawl out of. They don't end because we, all of us, will never let them end. I'm a rich bastard, but the hundreds of thousands of engineers, construction workers, and scientists trying to provide for their families, you think they've got it in them? Or what about you? You think that kid'd be your client if his dad didn't get fucked by me and my cohort? The military-industrial complex didn't just win. It changed everything. It is everything. It is everywhere. It is trillions of dollars, millions of jobs, and controls billions of lives. We would never let it die. But you think I could kill it? It would take a god.
That guy is a failure. He really is a flaw. Let me everyone know with God so bad. Then I shall begin again with my word and law.
As I am obviously a giant fan of DJ Peach Cobbler.
There have been accusations of sexual harassment at the Cobbler plushie sweatshop.
I think it's only fair that I start my first ever YouTube video glazing my own version of Doom Eternal.
Have you nothing to say to your creator?
Ultrakill is fucking phenomenal. It is one of my favorite video games ever. Full stop, period. And I know I'm sounding like very soy right now, but seriously, it is just like, oh my god. I mean, when Layer 7 came out, I literally played within like an hour of it dropping. I played it so early that it still had this like dog shit bug in 7-2 where the final room took me like 15 minutes and like I just, because the tree wouldn't fill or something. I'm still holding that against you, Hakita. But besides that little hiccup, oh my fucking god, I loved Layer 7. The enemies, the weapons, the levels, oh my god, the levels! I mean, they were sprawling, they were diverse, they were... Oh, no! Terrifying, but when I finished, there was a giant Ultrakill-sized hole left inside of me. So, what do I do when I haven't had enough of the stupid robot game? This.
That seems bad. Fuck it. Make him fight. Oh no! For an epic fucking battle. Oh! So beautiful. Oh! Oh! Fuck, bitch. What? Oh. Oh. Oh, shit.
Final war. World War I, but instead of 4 years of hell, we fought for 200. It started off pretty standard. You know, trench warfare. Couple miles of tunnels, blow up a single bunker, and wipe out the equivalent population of Liechtenstein. Pretty regular World War I era brutality. It ended with this. How did this happen? So as you can see, the use of mustard gas is just beyond cruel. Debilitating, lifelong injuries, for what? A few dead combatants at the cost of thousands of people's dignities? We simply will not stand for it as an allied force. Okay, fuck, didn't realize we were fighting such pussies. You know what? You want to make clearing trenches so much harder? Why don't you ban your beloved shotguns, you mercy-obsessed pricks? And here is where history may have changed. You know what? It's not a bad idea. Now tell me, aspiring imperialist, how do you clear a trench with your two best options gone? Oh, did you say horrifying blood mech filled with the life vigor of deserters and war-damaged veterans? You are so right and probably German. And yes, that's just speculation before the Ultrakill historians come after me. It's totally possible that the gutterman was developed in place of the tank, its real-world equivalent, or sometime long after. I really just wanted to continue the long and beloved tradition of Germany somehow causing every major world conflict of the 20th century. You gotta give it to those Krauts.
Why are you satyrs?
Anyway, while in the current state of the game, it isn't possible to know how it started. We can sure as hell see what it became and how it ended. The Earth Mover was a walking, talking nuclear bomb. The culmination of centuries of war. It was a city-to-city Hiroshima salesman, annihilating anyone and anything innocent or guilty. Towering at over half a kilometer tall with a shield generator and laser cannon, it was so gargantuan, and blood had, unsurprisingly, become so scarce, that it needed additional solar panels just to run. And after countless years of devastation, with no more cities to flatten and no more worlds to conquer, humanity was forced to seek a most wretched refuse. The war-ravaged planet continued to die, with humanity latching onto its own pinnacle of destruction merely to survive. Not for their families, or their country, or even a third yacht, but because the system had become such an integral part of their life that, in the end,
the military-industrial complex
was their life. Whatever had started the fighting had long been forgotten, and was at this point unnecessary. What mattered was that the Earth Mover, and the minuscule amount of shelter and food it provided, kept running, kept massacring, kept devastating, kept finding more blood so that those few humans alive could continue. Violence had gone beyond its ties to fancy boats and billion-dollar contracts. It had become an integral part of self-preservation, and nothing could change that. But as the sky blackened and the blood creature's solar panels became caked in ash, the Earth Movers began to falter. One by one, they fell until nothing was left to fight. And humanity forgave. Pushed into a new era of prosperity and peace, mankind thrived. Machines were made not to cleanse each other, but the air they breathed. Drones were made not for violence, but for protection. We did it. We beat the military-industrial complex. Bloodlust was now entirely separate from money, from life. As a species, we were finally unshackled from the chains of war which had held us down for so many years. But let me ask you a question. If I asked you to kill your fellow man,
right inside your head,
would you do it? No? You're not a fucking maniac? What if it was for $1 million? Oh, most of you pussies still saying no, huh? But what if I threatened your life? Your family's life? What if I said that, if you didn't, you and your family would not only be imprisoned, but tortured, starved, and fed to a grotesque bio-nuke? Can you see where I'm going with this?
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
I don't buy it. I don't fucking buy it, Terminal.
Fuck you.
Large-scale conflict was no longer possible. What about the communities born and raised for generations knowing nothing but violence?
I'm just trying to be like my idol.
Who your idol?
Ferenc Joseph.
What the fuck?
Which just lost their only source of food and shelter. What about the lucky bastards who still running Earth Movers would see the infighting and fucking obliterate them to take their shit? See, Earth Movers aren't the pinnacle of warfare because of their destructive capabilities. Sure, a city is pretty bad, but there are much, much worse weapons. No, they're the pinnacle because they are the logical endpoint of the military-industrial complex. There's no third yacht, only ice soup in a hut. But if you don't burn yourself to death fixing the shield generator, we're pureeing you.
I mean, 800 workers just died, but still, tip your cap, you know?
It's what happens when you let war transition from an act to an institution.
What do we watch, boys? Child!
No longer is it a war on terror or a war to defend democracy. It is war. War for profit. War to keep the economy running, and then a war to keep your children from starving. To keep us all from starving. Regardless of the merits of a cause, it is horrifically devastating, it is inhumane, and it is for no purpose but survival. It is war without reason. You cannot satiate a machine whose purpose it is to eat. You can only weep once its gnashing of teeth turns on you. But it didn't turn on them. It didn't fucking eat them. It should have eaten them. You expect me to believe that the Earth Movers fell and humanity just went, well, this blows, am I right? After 200 years of fighting? World War I eventually ended because people are about to start fucking rioting if things got any worse in their own home countries, and frankly, Raytheon didn't exist yet. But once you get to a point where you're literally feeding people to giant massacre robots, there's no going back.
So, why the F-U-C-K did they stop fighting?
Well, there's the normal theory. Earth movers were the main weapons. They needed sun. Sun got blocked. No more main weapons. No more war. Boring, but it makes sense. If you've never paid attention to history ever, like I said, I don't fucking buy it. You don't stop giving money to Israel. You chop off your own dick and hand it to Netanyahu if it turns a profit.
That is incorrect. Do not peddle conspiracy theory.
You really think a world of Netanyahus fighting for survival would let a lack of blood and sunlight get in the way? So, did my incredibly pretentious, vaguely left-wing theory of war get disproven by the spirit of humanity? First of all, fuck you. I'm not one of those liberals, okay? I'm a proud DJ Peach Cobbler viewer. I'm a centrist. But second of all, I've kind of been lying to you. The Earth Mover may have been the shining pinnacle of war as an institution, but it was not its greatest weapon. You are. The V model, which you play as, was being developed as yet another counter, with Earth Movers themselves being the next target. And in 7-4, we see exactly how effective that silly little robot can be.
Wow, that was super loud.
So, let's do our math, shall we? There were enough resources to produce the V models, enough poor bastards left to keep making them, and plenty of Earth Movers to kill. But the fighting concluded because they started getting low on solar power. Do you know what we do in real life to sidestep renewables?
It's called drill, baby, drill.
Sir, the solar panels, they're not generating enough electricity. It's not great, but we've got about a month's left in blood and batteries. What do we do? It's time, isn't it? Time to end the war? To put a stop to our people's suffering? To end the fight for something we've long since forgotten? Because what use is it to keep fighting to live if we live only to fight? Kill your wife. What? You heard me. I saw that bitch take extra rations. Sir, she's pregnant. Is she two people yet? Well, no, but that's not how— We have done nothing but make bombs, laser weapons, and war robots for almost 200 years now. How the hell do you think we're gonna rebuild? Listen, we've got like a dozen aerospace engineers, 20-something high-energy physicists, and one crazy guy whose job is literally turning corpses into blood. Do you know what that does to a man? We've barely got enough food to keep us alive, and it's all made by this thing. You really want to shut it down? Well, do you? No. Then find your wife, drain that bitch like it's the 1300s, and feed the machine. I don't buy the idea that humanity moved on, because logistically, psychologically, and historically, we wouldn't and haven't dared. It would take a god to end the war. And I think that's exactly what happened.
Uncountable signals of creation waste. Uncountable formulas for a mind without free will wasted. Then is meant for failing to follow my rule, my word, my law. Then to any video torture and suffering, the wailing and the gnashing of teeth. I have created hell. Now I can no longer make it.
The good thing about war as an institution is that while its violence may display inhuman levels of cruelty, the machine itself isn't. Imagine for a moment that you're a cow born into the beef industry. You are drugged, caged, hardly allowed to see sunlight, and killed having lived in near constant agony. You've never heard of a cheeseburger, a baconator, or a fucking McPickle pounder, but you were killed in service to them. An end you could not possibly conceive of, used you as a mean. Now imagine you're born into Iraq. It's 2004. Your parents are blown up in front of you, along with part of your leg. Trying to crawl away, you are cut down by waves of bullets from men you have never met before. You've never heard of Lockheed Martin either, or Boeing, or Kellogg Brown, but you are killed in service to it. An end you could have never conceived of has used you as a mean. To both the cow and those facing the war machine, we're just torturing them for no reason. The only difference is, despite the propaganda, these are still fucking people. See, the war machine does not maim and torture and kill out of feelings of hate, envy, or greed, because it doesn't feel anything. It just does whatever is required by whoever commands it, and there's always somebody willing. Now, hear me out here. I think that Ultrakill's god, exhausted from several failed experiments of free will, and seeing this clear flaw of the human design, sort of decided to step in. To conquer war once and for all. Vanquish the hate and necessity out of humanity's very soul. War wouldn't end. War would. Humanity's concept and capability of it. He removed war's very abstraction from our minds so that we may never fall for the same destructive trap and also waste God's time. But the cancer that is war was stronger than the Father had anticipated. Having removed the metaphysical tumor from mankind's collective unconscious, the violent, cruel energy which the machine was for so long defined by re-manifested into something more real. Something physical. Something alive. And I think that this thing was hell. Yeah, I know it's a bit batshit, but if I'm wrong about the theory, my point's right, just significantly less cool. Imagine you're a cow again. Same industry, different time. There are no more cheeseburgers. There are no more humans. You see no workers, but the butchering goes on. As you are drugged, caged, and shut away from the beauties of the natural world, you realize that the factory itself has come to life. Smiling. Laughing. There is no greater end. It really is just torturing you. Unlike war, hell does feel. It is the hateful machine. It is the physical manifestation of the power of the military-industrial complex in all of its dire consequences. But it does not maim and torture and kill for another's profit or survival. It does it for fun, forcing its inhabitants to fight each other, humans, and machines, only to watch. When humanity first learned about it, it even started to demand a sort of sacrifice for its own sick joy. God, being justifiably horrified, tried to demanifest such an abomination. But the physical embodiment of war, with all of its hate and power, was stronger than God himself. Let me repeat that. Raytheon's bottom line was mightier than God. Realizing what he'd done, God left us, angels, men, and everything in between, to face his mistake alone. To him, we were just one in a series of many failures. He may have tried purging war from us out of love, but after seeing what hell was capable of, he realized, hey, this shit is not worth it, and pulled out. He was ashamed. He was horrified, but he could not unmake. So, what does a demilitarized, pacifist humanity do to a creature of pure evil who is stronger than God and which gains power every time a mildly bad person dies? Install a fucking oil rig, because God knows he couldn't change that part about us. That's right. The Hell expeditions began, because for some reason, when you don't kill as many people, there's less blood to fuel your vampire robots. How'd they figure that the best idea to get new energy would be through hell? Who fucking knows? Just know that after installing some infrastructure, sending a few people down, and making the quirky little terminals, humanity was annihilated completely. Hell did what war failed to. It came to the surface, and through its superintelligence and innate ability to literally teleport anything inside of it, Hell committed the first and only omnicide. The system of war which humanity had relied on for so many centuries and millennia may have failed, but its cruel successor had no such mercy. And yet, it remained predictably unsatisfied. Remember, this thing feels. If there's no one left alive to man the wheel, sure, the machine of war will simply halt. Hell has no such limitations. It would not stop until all conscious life had suffered and died by its own will, by its own hatred. And, being the superintelligent, pretentious bastard it is, Hell found its perfect ending. Remember when I said V1 was war's real greatest weapon? Hell knows this and absolutely adores his earlier incarnation's masterpiece. A creature of pure violence, not dissimilar from Hell itself, living only to kill, just to kill more and more and more, until But unlike Hell, V1 doesn't actually want to. None of the machines want to. The ultimate symbol of war's conquering of the human spirit, the Earth Mover, does not roar in anger, it screams in fear. And the Gutterman, the start of this long, brutal history of blood warfare, well...
Mother of me. I should not miss you so, but mother of me, I do. The blood of your priest that nourished me, yet more me in its terrace. When your center will be where all I witness. Mother of me, I know you will tell me so. Nothing, not dream, were it not for you in my austere mood. Your torture love brought me to this war. And mother of me, I do too. That I could take to hear the venom and need you no more. I know. Your thoughts had left you long ago. And mother of me, I will never truly know. But I hope it redeems my life even just a slight when I cried and crushed your skull that fiddle.
The machines are conscious, but unlike humans who chose to start the cycle of violence, the machines were born needing blood. Fresh blood. They epitomized the institution of war because from the very beginning, they had to kill to survive, to kill to survive. Hell, understanding this, sends V1 on a calculated journey through itself, not out of fear or empathy for another one like it. No, Hell is having fun. Why? Because a suffering representation of war systematically wiping out all remaining conscious life is, to its own cruel mind, poetic. The war machine began with a cause. It sustained itself with a profit, but the machine ended with survival. Life ends with the hateful machine laughing as its predecessor's ultimate plaything tears through what remains. It has bested its creator, and it has bested its creator, and it has finished what humanity started. Its goals of pain and death accomplished in a way just as meaningless as its own inception and war's continuation. V1 would snuff out the flame of life in a desperate attempt at self-preservation. And, in the end, it would stand alone and dying as Hell watched its perfect ending. A calf slaughtering its own to feed an all-consuming cannibalism. Surveying its masterpiece, the machine spoke thus. War is hell, and hell is war, and it has won. Oh, looks like you're free to go. All 5 hours of your mandatory therapy is up. Am I a monster? You know, it isn't too late for us. There's gotta be more like us out there. I mean, I say we find them, we fight like hell, and we don't stop until we've crushed every machine in our way before they crush us. Because if nothing changes, please, will you help me? Yeah, well, you made me miss my child, so kick rocks, eat shit, and if they make me come back here again, I will personally get us back into the Middle East and draft your ass. Yes, you are a monster.